Hello, I'm Lucy from Rhythm Time, and you've tuned into the Early Years Development Show. Thanks for joining me as we engage with experts and explore diverse topics centred around our children's formative years. We recognise the importance of these early moments, and we're committed to guiding and supporting parents every step of the way. In this episode, I chat with the amazing Kathy Doolan. Kathy is a passionate musician who transformed her love for music into Rhythm Time, a thriving business that's enriched over 250,000 children with musical growth since it started in the mid-90s. As a mother, she witnessed music's profound impact on her daughter's development and was inspired to share this magic with countless other children. Now, with classes across the UK, Rhythm Time has consistently delivered music's developmental wonders to babies, toddlers, and preschoolers. I hope you love and take as much from this conversation as I did. And please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the show on whichever platform you are on. Enjoy.
Ha ha ha, hee hee hee, you are here and so are we. Ha ha ha, hee hee hee, you are here and so are we.
Thank you so much for being our very first guest on this podcast. Couldn't think of a better first guest to have. So, first of all, I'd like you just to introduce yourself, give our listeners at home a little bit of background about your journey and how you came to start Rhythm Time.
Right. Thank you for asking me. I'm delighted to be here, delighted to help. I got involved with music classes many years ago. I set up Rhythm Time, which has been going for, I did it for 25 years, so it's been going for a lot longer than that now. My background is I was a music teacher, studied music, and I taught in secondary schools, primary schools, and I also taught piano at home. So musical background, but I really became interested in preschool music because I hadn't really worked with tiny tots until I had my own children. That's when actually I saw the power of music. And because I taught piano, I used to get a bit frustrated because children would come to me age 7 for piano lessons, or even slightly younger, and they didn't have a sense of pulse, they didn't have a sense of rhythm, and I used to get frustrated. I think these are all basic skills that it can be taught. So I started doing that with my daughter, doing musical activities every day, just exploring. And her response was absolutely wonderful. And I could see her development, not because she comes from a musical family, because I'm musical, just because I started doing it with her. And I was amazed at what a 3-year-old, even a 2-year-old, what she could achieve and what she could understand. So I thought, oh, this is wonderful. I want to explore this more. And I wanted to get out of teaching and to run a business. I'd always wanted to run a business and have more freedom to I just always fancied running a business. I don't know why, because I don't have any business in my background, but I just wanted the freedom and a change. And I thought this would be a good starting point. It's what I know. It's what I was good at. So I thought, and I believed in it, in the power of music, helping children's development. So Rhythm Time was born.
Brilliant. That's really interesting. And as you say, like these children are coming to you at 7 with nothing. But if you just start introducing that little bit earlier, then they're more equipped, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely.
So you say you started Rhythm Time. So for the listeners at home, could you just explain what Rhythm Time is?
It's a set of structured music classes for babies, toddlers, and preschoolers. I say structured. Within the structure, there's lots of freedom. But the courses, I wrote all the courses specifically with musical aims in mind, to teach rhythm and pitch and melody. That's what they're learning. Rhythm, pitch, and melody. That's what they're learning. So, and we start them at 2-3 months old. And they go right through until they go to school. We can go beyond school, but that would be a whole set of new courses. But so it takes them from very young age, learning very basic things, through toddler, where it develops, and then it develops again, moving on to the preschool courses. So it's a whole set of documented courses, and it's fun. You know, it brings a lot of joy to the children and to the parents as well. But they're learning. They're like little sponges, children. They can learn so much.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds really interesting. And also, I know I thought, because I've got a little girl myself, I thought surely going along to a class when she's a couple of months old, will she learn anything? Will she pick anything up? But they do, don't they?
Absolutely, they're like sponges, because the ear is the first organ to be developed in the child's brain. So they're hearing all the time. They can't maybe see very clearly, but they're listening, and they want to absorb all these sounds. And it's great for parents as well to go along. It's interesting because people think that they don't really learn a lot, but they do. Absolutely. It's very, very important to give them that stimulation, and important for parents to make friends as well.
And at that early stage when you're a new mum, kind of getting out the house with your young baby, I can imagine that's very, very it's important to do.
Absolutely. And music lifts your mood as well. And because sometimes people can suffer from postnatal depression or whatever, so it is good to get out of the house and meet other people, and you feel better after you've been singing and interacting with other people as well.
And a sense of that routine as well, kind of having
Yes.
something to get up and go out for, because the days are long, aren't they, when you've got
Yeah,
little
routine
ones?
is important for the children and the babies, and for parents as well. It's a focus for the day, which is good, and then you can make friends and go on for coffee afterwards, which is lovely.
Yeah, always good.
And the cake.
Always cake. So let's talk a little bit more about the three different areas. So you mentioned obviously the babies, and they go on to toddlers, and they go on to preschoolers. So what are some of the earliest signs that you would say that would suggest that a baby is connecting with the music? So if you were playing music to a baby, what signs would you expect to see?
Well, actually, because the ear is the first organ to be developed, the baby can hear inside the
Okay.
womb. And the baby will recognize mum's voice because mum is speaking, recognize the rise and the fall. So if mum starts to sing to the baby when it's in the womb and tap their tummy, singing the same song repeated every day, has to be the same song, so the baby gets to recognize it, recognize the rhythm patterns. The baby will eventually communicate with the mum because they will recognize her voice and they'll recognize the song. I mean, I think that's absolutely incredible. It's wonderful. So when the baby is born, the baby will, if the mum sings that song, the baby will be comforted because it will recognize the song because it was listening to it in the
I guess
womb.
a heartbeat
So
as
that's,
well, isn't it? Similar.
yes, yes, because yes, music's all about pulse, so it's that heartbeat. So the baby will actually, if mum does that, will recognise the song. The same thing with a story. If mum reads a story, the same story repeated again and again in the womb, the baby will recognise that story. But of course, music has the melody added as well, so that's a different component and a special component. So hearing the rise and the fall of the melody. And when the baby is born, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when you get close to the baby and you sing to the baby will stop moving and their eyes widen, and they have this excited look on their face because they're hearing this beautiful voice. Even if you think they can't sing, it doesn't matter. They're hearing the sung voice, and they love that. That, you know, just hearing that mum's voice singing to them, they find it so stimulates their brain. So you can tell by their eyes, they'll stop moving and their eyes will become a lot wider. And sometimes they'll start to move as well. You know, if it's a fast song, they get excited. So there's various things that you will notice, but I always notice the eyes becoming really excited and really wide when mum is singing to them, specifically mum.
Yeah, because they recognise that voice.
They recognise the voice, yeah.
Are there any studies that have shown kind of this early introduction of music to have a positive effect on little
Yes,
ones?
there've been lots of studies done. And one of the main things that came out of that was that the brain development, because the baby's brain will double in size. So you want to give it as much stimulation as you possibly can in that early period, 6 months to a year, when all the nerve endings are joining together. So the more you can stimulate the brain, the better. And there's no better way than to do that through music, because children will learn to sing before they speak. I don't know if you knew that, but they actually sing before they speak. Speech is all about, high and low, the rise and the fall. And singing is such a lovely way to do that. It's very, very natural. And a baby doesn't understand the words that you're saying, but the baby will understand the emotion behind the words because of the rise and fall of your voice. If mum is a little bit down, the baby can tell because of the pitch in their voice. And if mum is happy, they can tell because the pitch is higher, lighter. So they can tell a lot by listening to the voice and the pitch of the voice.
So they're already kind of getting grasp on those emotions when they're so young.
Yes. And also music can help with older children, their concentration. They've done lots of studies to prove that children who have had early musical experiences can concentrate better. People used to say to me, teachers in primary school or nursery, we can tell the rhythm time children.
Really?
Because of their concentration.
Wow.
Which is...
the listening and the concentration.
Because they've been doing it from an early age. That we just honed in on those skills. So they said, we can tell the rhythm time children because they sit and they listen and they participate and they give us back such a lot.
Wow. That brings us nicely on to the toddlers and the preschoolers. So I'm guessing toddlers and preschoolers get a little bit more out of it in terms of, as you say, speech and language and things like that. So how do these musical activities prepare toddlers and preschoolers for kind of nursery and school and that type of things?
Well, through music classes, through rhythm time specifically, they will learn lots of different songs and they will hear lots of different words and learn the understanding of those words. So that's one of the main things. But the other thing is it helps them to start reading, because when they go to school, they learn reading phonetically, and that's breaking down words into chunks. Now that's done automatically when you sing a song. For instance, if you take the song Mary, Mary, quite contrary, and that's Mary, Mary, that's 2 words, but 4 syllables. We've split it into chunks, which is how they learn to read when they go to school. So already in a music class, they're learning about breaking down words into little pieces. We all do it, but we never think about it. But it's done musically through song. So that's really, really important. It's going to help their reading skills because they've been doing early music. And their concentration as well, and their listening. There's so many advantages of doing music, and their concentration, their listening skills. They learn to contribute. They learn confidence because they have to contribute in the class in a positive way, and they have to articulate, they ask questions, and they have to, sometimes they're asked a question by singing to them and they have to sing back, and they have to come up with ideas. How do you want to do this? So it really builds their confidence and their communication skills as well. I mean, there's nothing negative about doing music with children. It can only be positive.
And I think it's brilliant, as you say, that all the different areas, kind of their confidence, their speech, and then I also guess interacting with other children, so they learn to share and they learn to be in that environment. I guess that plays a big part. What about instruments and that type of thing? So more of the motor skills and that type of thing. Does that play a part?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it helps them express themselves, which is really important. And if they feel frustrated, they can bang the drum and get that frustration out. But also they have to learn control, because in the music class, they'll play big instruments like drums, which is big motor skills, but they have to then play loudly and softly. So they have to learn, well, how do I adapt my hand and my arm weight to play softly now? So there's a lot going on there. And also if they have to play chime bars or Indian bells are very small and very delicate, and we try and encourage the children to make a good sound. It's important to, you don't just bash a drum, you have to control it, kind of thing. So we encourage them to make a good sound, and to do that they have to have lots of control over small motor movements and large motor movements. So percussion playing is a fantastic way for them to relieve their frustration and to enjoy music and be involved, not just with singing, but actually be involved physically as well.
That's really good. and I can kind of see how by being involved they kind of almost get better at it, if you know what I mean. The more they do it, the more they kind of get used to it. I know my little girl, she can actually, and I was so shocked when we were in a rhythm time class, she was actually beating her drum to the beat of the music, and nobody's ever told her to do that. It's obviously in her, it's what she's picked up. So I think it's brilliant.
Yes, I mean, in the toddler class, we encourage the mums to tap the pulse on the little one so that the children, because you have to teach that, they have to feel it, because naturally children tap the rhythm, not the pulse, because they would do Mary, Mary instead of Mary, Mary. So you have to teach them to clap that pulse. So she's obviously very musical if she can do it naturally. She's felt it, sort of thing. But it is an important skill to learn, because I used to get frustrated when people came to me to learn piano, and they didn't know the difference between rhythm and pulse. They couldn't keep a pulse. It was you had to teach that age 7, whereas they can do it, as your daughter's doing, at a much, much earlier age.
And is there anything that perhaps mums could do at home with their little ones to kind of get them prepared?
Yes, absolutely. I would encourage every mum to sing, especially when they've got babies as well, every day. If you could make up songs to the activities that you're doing, you know, if you're bathing them, getting them dressed, changing their nappy, make up little songs. It can be very, very simple, and the best way to do that is to use only 2 notes, which is the nee no of the ambulance. You know,
Yeah.
who's got a smelly nappy? I wish you'd go to sleep. You know, things like that. Very, very simple. And also, I would encourage mums with babies to record their own voice singing a very simple song that their baby enjoys. Record it, and then when the baby wakes up in the middle of the night and they don't want to lift them up, you know, if they don't need to be fed or they don't need their nappy changed and they're just crying and a bit, you know, fractious, play this recording, put it on, go out of the room and leave the recording on. And it would soothe the baby because they're hearing mum's voice, and they'll focus on that voice and they'll go back to sleep.
See, that's fair. I've never even thought of that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, just they love your voice. Or if it's a story they like, it doesn't have to be a song. Song's better, but even a story that they like, just record yourself reciting and reading the story and put it on, and your little one will go back to sleep because they love your voice so much, and they'll just focus on your voice and it will soothe them.
And it's the familiarity as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. What about for children perhaps with additional needs? Because is rhythm time something that would be beneficial to them? Is music something that would help them?
Yes, I mean, music helps everybody. I mean, it's a non-verbal way of communicating, which makes it really powerful. And everybody understands music. It's a universal language. So children with special needs will love music instinctively, as most children do, but also the multisensory nature of music is something that really appeals to their special needs, really. So the multisensory aspect is really important, and it helps their brain development because it's like a full brain workout when you do music. And if the music can excite you and also can soothe you. So if music is fast and loud, that affects the brain, and it will, you know, sort of, they'll think faster. But if you want to be soothed, play soft, gentle music. So they understand music instinctively, as most children do, but it can have a calming effect, especially if they're upset or they're frustrated. It can have a calming effect on them.
Okay, so could you explain a little bit about how music contributes to the 3 prime areas and why it's so important for preschoolers?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. The 3 prime areas to help develop every child, very, very important, is first of all language and communication, and then their physical development, and then their social and their emotional development. And all 3 areas have to be developed to make a well-rounded, to help develop a well-rounded child. How does music help that? Well, language and communication is really important. If a child can explain how they're feeling and if they're frustrated, if they have the words to use, it makes life a lot easier for the little one. So language development is really crucial for every child, and self-expression. And it's interesting, they've done lots of research to show that the mental pathways that are used to process music are the same mental pathways in the brain that processes language, maths, and abstract thinking. So it's very, very powerful for language development for many reasons. And exploring language in music and learning all these different words. But also, as I've explained before, it helps with the phonics reading when they go to school. Their physical development is helped in a music class because we get up to dance, and people instinctively, well, children instinctively move to music. I think everyone instinctively moves to music. However, as you get older, some people become inhibited and shy and don't want to move physically to music. But children will instinctively move to music and move to the beat of music. It's something they feel. It's very, very natural. So we dance in the class to music, different types of music, and we use scarves and balls and hoops. So we encourage them to get up and explore the space and explore their body, and to not have that shyness about moving to music. Emotionally and socially is really important because they're coming to the class meeting other children. They have to learn to respect other children. They have to listen. They have to wait. They have to share. They have to pass on instruments. So that's all good skills to learn. But also in the class, they will listen to classical music and all different types of music, but they'll listen to music, happy music and sad music. Happy music is usually in the major key, but we also listen specifically to music in the minor key, which is quite sad. So they're learning to express their emotions through the music, because they'll realise that it's a sad piece of music and it's okay to be sad and to express how you're feeling, and it's okay to be happy and to express how you're feeling. So we sort of explore these two differences, the happy and the sad. So it's helping them express themselves emotionally. So all of these things are covered in a music class in 1/2 hour.
Brilliant.
Believe it or not.
You mentioned the half an hour. Is that a time that they can kind of, what am I trying to say here? So half an hour, why half an hour?
Because that's the maximum time they can really concentrate. Sometimes people can do longer classes, but there's a bit of time wasting at the beginning and the end. You're better to have half an hour with full activity going on, and because it gives their brain a full workout. It's quite exhausting for them, you know. So half an hour is the maximum. Even piano lessons, it's half an hour. They can't really concentrate for more than that, really.
And I asked that question because I don't think my little girl would be able to focus for longer than half an hour. But again, I'm amazed at how focused she is in the time that she's in class. So yeah, it really does hold their attention.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a great skill in preparation for going to school, because if you have a child who can sit and listen and concentrate, it's wonderful. That's how they learn.
Okay, so are there any misconceptions about early music education that you would like to address?
That's a good question. Very good question. Yes, it's amazing, because some people think that starting music as a young baby, 2 months old, is far too early. But actually, as I said before, they're like little sponges, and their ear is the first organ to be developed. So it's really important to give them that stimulation, and important for mum as well. Some people think they can do music at home with a little one and they don't need to go to a class, which is correct. They can, if they have the knowledge. But I think getting out of the house is important for both mum and baby, and making friends, and also going to a music class to pick up ideas of what else you can do at home with your baby, and to get that stimulation. And sometimes mum and dads don't feel they can go to a music class because they think they can't sing or they're unmusical. And that's a shame, because everybody is musical. And even if they think they can't sing and they don't have the confidence, the teacher will do the singing for them. They don't have to sing, but they will grow in confidence. And it's interesting, sometimes you can see the children develop, but I've also seen the parents develop in their own confidence in the class. So So those are the misconceptions, I would say, is worth for people to think about. And coming along to a music class is a wonderful thing to do.
I can imagine that a lot of people kind of really come out of their shells, especially some of the dads dancing away to
Yes, it's wonderful to see the parents developing, having fun, and they feel they can let themselves go in the class and get up and dance because they're dancing with a little one.
Yeah.
Whereas the perhaps out with the wife at night, maybe they don't dance. I don't know. My husband's not a dancer,
No,
but he
not
would
mine.
dance with his children
Yeah.
because he feels, secure doing that because I'm doing it with the little one, so it's okay to look silly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that just sparked something in my mind there as well. So, how about grandparents? Do you have grandparents or slightly older generation coming along to classes? Have you found?
Yes, lots of grandparents come, and I think more now because people have gone back to work and grandparents are looking after children, and we've always had grandparents, but they absolutely love it, and they throw themselves into it because they're older, they've got no inhibitions, they don't care, and they love that time with their grandchild, and it's a really special bond. When you do something together, it produces a special bond, and they meet other grandparents and have a chat and go for coffee afterwards, so it's all great. It's all good stuff. Yes.
So, what are some simple ways that parents can incorporate music into their daily routine at home?
I mentioned before about making a recording of yourself singing. It's really important. But the other thing is to have a special music box at home full of instruments. A little box full of, maracas, claves, chime bars, a drum, just a variety of instruments. But the important thing is to keep the box special and to put the box in a cupboard. Don't mix it with the toys, because then they just play it on their own. You want to make it a special activity. Shall we get the music box out today together? So it's something you get out, you play along to some music, you sing together, you have fun together, then the music box goes away. So, and I think it's important to make it really special, a special activity, not because instruments are not toys, and they learn a lot through using the instruments. So that's something that I would say. And to sing and to dance every day with your child and your baby. Just enjoy music together. And it's such a good thing to do. It's such a joyous thing to do. And it lifts your mood because it's known that a hormone is released when you're singing and you're dancing together. And it makes everybody feel good. So I would just encourage them to sing and dance. But the music box is a special thing that I would encourage everyone to have.
That's such a lovely idea and not something that you'd think to do, but I can see how it would be this special thing and this exciting activity to go together.
Absolutely.
And I guess if you haven't got that much money, you could perhaps make instruments at home as well, using all sorts of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the possibilities are endless there.
Yes,
that one.
Great fun. Yes, crafts as well.
And also, so finally now, based on your research and your experience, what's one key takeaway that you would like our listeners to remember about the importance of music for early years?
I think the one takeaway I would say that music is fundamental for every child's development, and there's nothing better that you can do for your little one. So Brilliant. Get along to a class, specifically rhythm time.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Honestly, I've really enjoyed that discussion. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I've got a lot of things now that I'm going to do when my little one gets home from nursery.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you for asking me. I'm very privileged. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Early Years Development Show with me, Lucy from Rhythm Time. It's been great speaking with Kathy and understanding the power of music in our children's lives. I'm also grateful for your company, and I hope, like me, you've taken a few musical ideas to share with your little one at home. If you enjoyed our conversation, please do share the podcast with others and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. Until next time, keep cherishing those early moments and know that we're here supporting you on your journey. See you soon.